D is called How Jewish People Are Different from Every Other Minority. This is Thoughts from 5D. I'm Otis 5D. All right, I think this is a really important concept because people that think that the rise in discussion about Zionism and Israel and Hitler and the Jews and Jewish people and Jewish power and Jewish supremacy and the Jews killing Jesus and all this stuff, if people think that that's completely asinine and filled with hate and that there's nothing more to the story than that, it's absolutely insane. It's just as insane as all of the other woke nonsense. Like, for instance, crime statistics. And here's the deal. Let's cut to the chase. The difference between Jewish people and every other minority is that there's no obvious way to tell that someone is Jewish. They just look, for the most part, 80, 98% of the time, like just some white person. And so you'd have no idea that you're listening to the perspective of a minority. And the reason that that's so important is because when you listen to a black person talk about reparations for black people, you very naturally kind of you take it with a grain of salt. You're like, okay, well, this black person thinks that they should get reparations. That's interesting. Let's listen to the argument, but let's also keep in mind that they might be kind of biased because it's them. It's for them. Whereas if a black person talks about discrimination against Asians in Ivy League universities, you're like, okay, all right, this person is much more likely to just be saying what they think as a human being and kind of calling it as they see it. So hopefully you know where I'm going with this. When you hear a white person talk about the rise in anti-Semitism or how free speech may need to have limits when it comes to hate speech, and you're just taking it in, you're like, okay, that's a perspective. But if they don't disclose the fact that they're Jewish, your mind doesn't have the capacity to run those very natural filters, algorithms, heuristics, whatever you want to call it, to be like, okay. Let me listen to what this person is saying, but let's be very clear that this person is like selling their own book. Whatever they're saying is of benefit first and foremost to themselves and their family. And this is a really big deal. The simple way to say this is that Jewish people are the only minority that can be simultaneously white people and a minority, and that they can go back and forth between those identities as they see fit. So they can talk about how white supremacy is just disgusting and how we need to eradicate racism, let's say. And then if someone accuses them of being a white racist, they can say, hey, I'm Jewish. I'm a minority. So you could make a case that this isn't like inherently bad or nefarious, but what you can't make a case of is that any other minority group has this privilege. This is an enormous privilege because to be able, if just game theoretically, if everyone on earth can only choose one identity, but you can choose two, you have more optionality than anyone else. Maybe you could make a case that like gay people have that, like white gay people. They can be like simultaneously white and gay. And that's fair. I think that the difference is that oftentimes gay people are very forthcoming with their gayness. And second of all, homosexuality is like, it's not a racial, ethnic characteristic. So let me be even more clear. Let's change the phrasing from minority to race or ethnicity. And once you take this in, to me, if you're going to steelman Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West's, some of his tweets that get, I think, overlooked because they're maybe a little bit less inflammatory are that a lot of his positions that he's taken about, not trusting Jewish people is based on doing a lot of business in the music industry over the years. And I think it's quite plausible that at first he was like, well, yeah, the white man is trying to keep me down, and slowly realizing like, well, that guy's actually Jewish. I mean, he's a white guy, but he's like a Jewish white guy. And then, wait, like the other guy was also a Jewish guy. I mean, a white guy, but a white Jewish guy. And eventually realizing like, whoa. Like a lot of these people, most of these people were Jewish people. And like, yo, what the fuck? And everybody's blaming everything on white people because you can definitely talk about white people, but you can't really talk about Jewish people. So if you want to talk about Jewish people, then you just talk about white people because there's no social stigma for talking about white people, whereas there's like a currently massive social stigma for talking about Jewish people. So just like Charlie Munger says, you show me the incentives and I'll show you the results. If the ability to play two ethnicities simultaneously, depending on what's of benefit to you, is on the table, you'll absolutely take it. I mean, that's just like that's how incentives work. And it doesn't have to be nefarious whatsoever to like end up with nefarious results just because of the incentives in the structure. So I think that this is like the most important steelman, unassailable argument as to why this thing is not just about hate. Like Elon Musk just tweeted this. I think he said like the Jewish people are, I can't remember, I feel stupid that I'm saying this, but it was like either like they're certainly white or they're definitely not white. I think he said they're certainly white. I think that's what he said. Regardless, he commented on it, but the truth is that the problematic part of this is that the answer is actually both. Jewish people are simultaneously white and not white. And in many instances can choose whether to identify as white, as a majority and speak for a majority, or as Jewish and a minority and speak for the minority. And I think that, there really should be some kind of, because of this, because it's so easily confused and the incentive structure is so dangerous. I personally think that Jewish people should not necessarily by law, but by custom, disclose their Jewishness when they're speaking about Jewish issues, whether that's anti-Semitism, Israel, Zionism, etc. Because otherwise, it's like the optics are fucking bad, bro. The optics are bad for me. And I'm prone to being sympathetic, and it seems obvious, right? It seems obvious that should be the case. Like, a black person obviously doesn't have to disclose their blackness because it's self-evident to everyone. And to not do this feels like, just to say, as a Jewish person, I feel blah, 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 blah. Like, I think not doing that is a bad look and is not leading anywhere good at this point in time in the year of our Lord 2025. So that's my thoughts on that. Come check out my website. Check out what I got going on. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Let me know what you think, and go fuck yourself. Don't forget that part. Peace.
Otis5D.xyz.